Before a single ship had left port, Greenpeace was already working to support non-lethal research on whales by working together with scientists in the South Pacific to satellite track humpback whales, including the now world-famously named Mr. Splashy Pants, as they migrated south to the Southern Ocean Whale Sanctuary. But we didn't just want to follow the whales, we wanted to follow the whalers too. With Mr. Splashy Pants and his friends underway, our ship was preparing in Korea, and in October the Esperanza was off the coast of Japan, waiting for the fleet. It was clear that the whaling fleet did not want company, and while the 3 hunter vessels headed straight for the Esperanza at high speed in the dead of night, the Nishin Maru, the factory ship, sneaked away. For Greenpeace, trying to track the whaling fleet all the way from Japan was a gamble right from the start. We knew that, but you gain nothing by not trying. Going to the Southern Ocean to find the fleet is also a risk. The biggest and most worrying risk is not finding them at all. But on board the Esperanza is a dedicated, experienced crew, and after 10 days of searching the icy waters of Antarctica, in the middle of the night on January the 12th, the ship's radar told us everything we needed to know and all we had hoped for. We'd found them. The fleet scattered and the chase was on. All through the foggy night we kept a tail on the single green smudge on the radar, a smudge we were certain was the mothership, the Nishin Maru. Without the Nishin Maru, the hunter ships cannot hunt. They need to be able to transfer the whales as quickly as possible, as they have no way of storing or butchering them. As in previous years, when Greenpeace has found them, the ships did start to run. But unlike previous years, this year they kept on running. For more than 2 weeks, not a single whale was killed in the Southern Ocean Whale Sanctuary, as, with the Esperanza always in her sight, the Nishin Maru tried to hide from public scrutiny. Only once did she stop, to refuel. The whaling fleet gets topped up by a Panamanian registered tanker, the Oriental Bluebird, that doesn't have a permit to be part of the fleet. They carry out the operation inside the protected waters of Antarctica, despite Japan signing an international agreement to safeguard the pristine environment. We had no intention of further risking that environment by putting the Esperanza in the way of the operation, but Greenpeace was still determined to try to stop it from happening, and crew members Yetska and Heath drove one of our small inflatables between the 2 vast ships. Their bravery did delay the refueling, but eventually it became clear that the 2 ships would crush them, and they had to get out of the way. The Oriental Bluebird also takes whale meat from the Nishin Maru and transports it back to Japan. But when we returned to document this, in order to prove the Bluebird is part of the whaling fleet, and therefore operating illegally without a permit, the nearby hunters moved in. For over an hour they tried to stop the crews in the little inflatables from documenting the whale meat transfer by driving at high speed right at them, just as their bosses in Tokyo were claiming Greenpeace was dangerous. But yet more scrutiny put a stop to their close-quarter harassment when the Australian government ship Oceanic Viking arrived. Even with the government ship tucked in behind, the Esperanza crew were determined to keep the Nishin Maru in sight and on the move for as long as possible. After more than 2 weeks, it was our fuel tanks that gave up. We had to turn for home, and it was with much regret. But as we leave the ocean behind us, we know that we have stopped the hunters for longer than has ever been done before, and completely. The entire operation shut down. In Japan, where the decision to end the hunt will ultimately be made, there has been unprecedented debate, and this is where we need to head to next. From sea to shore, to the hearts and minds of the Japanese people and the policies of their government. That is where we will reach Greenpeace's ultimate goal, to never have to return to the Southern Ocean Whale Sanctuary again, to bring enough pressure on the Japanese government to shut down the operation, not for 2 weeks or 3 or even a month, but once and for all, for good.